All right.
Smart, but you know,
It's very loud.
yeah.
Pull them close and I'll tell them to turn it down.
What's loud?
Yeah.
The mics are turned way up.
Yep.
What do I have in my bag? It's like, you never know. Do you have a Mary Poppins bag?
Do you have a loaf of bread? There's a loaf of bread over here.
Anybody hungry?
Okay.
I have a full.
Are we ready? Because we have lots of meeting to get through and people that are waiting. So, okay. I am going to call the Regional School Committee to order at 6:33 p.m. We do not have any virtual members, so we are just all here. Okay, no roll call.
Is Bridget coming? She's
We are all here, as in everyone who's part of the meeting is in the room, and therefore we don't have to do roll call vote or attendance. Okay, first up is public comment. There were two received, which have been attached to board docs. I will read the preamble, and then we have a list. So thank you for coming to attend the public meeting of the Amherst Regional School Committees. This meeting will be held in accordance with Massachusetts Open Meeting Law. This committee oversees the Amherst Regional Schools and has purview in the following areas: employment, compensation, and evaluation of the superintendent, appointment of certain other employees per policy BDC, review and approval of fiscally responsible annual budget, establish the overarching educational goals, and develop policies that guide as the guide for administrative action and strive for continual improvement of the educational programming for the district. The chair of the committee will preside over the meeting, including acknowledgement of speakers during public comment. The public comment period is an opportunity for the committee to receive the opinions of its constituents on issues of school committee business. We request that all comments be respectful. Comments regarding matters within the school committee purview may be offered during public meeting. However, this committee will not hear personnel complaints related to any matters outside of its purview. Generally, this includes complaints against school personnel, students, or members of the community. Under most circumstances, administrative channels are the proper means for these grievances. Our students and staff have a right to privacy. The chair of the committee reserves the right to, after a warning, terminate comments which are not protected by the First Amendment. Policy BEDH, public participation at committee meetings, dictates 3 minutes for each speaker unless the chair extends the time and states that individuals may not assign their time to another speaker. The committee respectfully requests your cooperation by keeping comments to under 3 minutes and to matters within the purview of the committee. In accordance with Policy BEDH, we welcome members of the audience to make public comment. Please clearly state your name and affiliation with the district. Can I have a list?
Is there a list?
Yep, there's a list.
I'm working in it, so can I go first? Sure. You're gonna let me go first because I'm working.
Okay.
This is my break. Thank you. So I think it should be under 3 minutes. So I have something that says, when leadership becomes the system it promised to change. There is something unsettling about watching a system that you believed in begin to mirror the very problems it once promised to fix. Public schools are meant to model fairness, transparency, and accountability. They work best when decisions are clear, feedback is welcomed, and students remain at the center. But when decision-making becomes less transparent, when authority concentrates, and when loyalty appears to matter more than experience or qualifications, the culture begins to shift. People notice. Staff becomes more cautious. Conversations move from open meetings to quiet side discussions. Individuals who once felt comfortable raising concerns begin to weigh the risk of speaking openly. Over time, the caution creates something more troubling: silence. This is not unique to Amherst. Across institutions, leadership that begins with promises of equity and disruption can gradually become protective of its own authority. Feedback starts to feel unwelcome. Criticism becomes personalized. Oversight becomes less assertive. The guardrails designed to ensure fairness begins to weaken. One of the clearest warning signs is when hiring and decision-making appear inconsistent or unclear. Whether intentional or not, when processes lack transparency or positions are filled without open searches, It creates a perception that relationships and proximity to leadership carry more weight than fairness. Even that perception alone can erode trust quickly. Equally concerning is when accountability becomes difficult. Systems depend on leaders who welcome scrutiny and oversight bodies willing to ask hard questions. When that dynamic shifts, systems begin to serve stability and authority rather than students. This is not about an single individual. It's about patterns that emerge when power goes unchecked and when feedback is interpreted as opposition rather than engagement. Amherst has long valued equity, transparency, and community voice. Those values require more than intention. They require openness to criticism, willingness to reflect, and leadership grounded in accountability. When people begin to feel hesitant to speak, when loyalty becomes currency, and when decisions appear insulated from scrutiny, trust erodes. And trust, once lost, is difficult to rebuild. Amherst students deserve transparency, staffs deserve to work without fear, and the community deserves confidence that decisions are being made in the best interest of students. When guardrails weaken, systems drift. And when systems drift, students pay the price.
Thank you, Mr. Archer.
And I mean, I'll just say this again, like I said, when Mike or Doug, you guys are the school committee, and Dr. Z answers to you, and you have to hold her accountable and hold everyone accountable. No one is above the law.
Kate Follett. I am going to apologize in advance if I muddle anybody's name.
No, that was great. Kate
Excellent.
Follett. Hi, I want to start by thanking you all. I know this is a really busy time, and you're helping to coordinate new schools opening next year, which we all very much appreciate. I also know that many people come to you to advocate for programs, all of which place demands on the district's limited resources. However, we're here today to make a request that's net zero cost, so I hope that is good news for you. So we're representing 40 parents of 6th graders entering the Amherst Regional Middle School next year and 24 additional supporters. We delivered a written public comment earlier today, and we have some copies printed if anyone would like one. This year, the inaugural cohort of Fort River's Caminantes program will graduate from elementary school. That means 32 bilingual 6th graders will join heritage and first language Spanish speakers from other regional towns and Amherst elementary schools in needing an advanced Spanish language class at the middle school next fall. First, a bit about this cohort. They were sent home in the middle of kindergarten. They did a majority of their first grade on Zoom in 2 languages. All of their elementary school teachers have been teaching in the Caminantes program for the first time, and our kids have been right there with them through all of the growing pains of this program. We took a leap of faith when we enrolled our kids 7 years ago, knowing that the district would be kind of laying down the track as we went for this program. For several years, a group of dedicated Caminantes parents and administrators have been discussing a middle school plan with the district. However, at the middle school information session last week, we were told 3 things. 1, no advanced Spanish class is yet in place. 2, in a few weeks, we're going to be asked to elect language preferences for our children. And 3, if we elect Spanish, our kids will be enrolled in an introductory Spanish class with children learning the language for the first time. This is untenable and inequitable for all the reasons we lay out in the letter. On a personal note, when I moved here 8 years ago with a 3-year-old, all 9 of my colleagues in my department at Amherst College had children who attended charter or private schools, most of them at the Pioneer Valley Chinese Immersion Charter School. As I learned about the landscape of the local school system, I felt really torn. I'm a big believer in public education, but the opportunity for my kid to become bilingual felt too good to pass up. When I heard about Caminantes, it felt like the best of both worlds. This is the reason I enrolled my kids in the Amherst school system. We've heard a lot of similar anecdotes as we assembled this letter, and we've heard even of families moving to Amherst specifically for the Caminantes program. We sincerely hope that you see its tremendous benefit to the district and take immediate action to ensure that an advanced Spanish language class is made available at the middle school next year. This is not going to just benefit our kids who are the Caminantes alumni and who took this leap with the district, but will also recognize and empower heritage and first language Spanish speakers throughout the Amherst regional school system. Thank you.
Thank you. That was epic timing. Melanie?
evening. My name is Melanie Burgos Morris, and I have a 6th grade student in the Caminantes program.
Excuse me, can you pull the mic down to you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank
just,
you.
can just pull it forward.
Oh, okay. Should I?
Thanks so much.
Okay,
Yes,
sorry.
that's great.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Melanie Burgos Morris, and I have a 6th grade student in the Caminantes program. It has taken 4 generations of my family living in Massachusetts to finally have access to bilingual education. I'm incredibly grateful that my son has been able to be part of Caminantes. My grandparents were 47 and 50 when they came and they moved here from Puerto Rico to Massachusetts. They both learned some English but needed so much help from their family when shopping, paying bills, and being out in the community. My mother still remembers being 7 years old, walking through her new elementary school. The principal looked at her, realized she was too big for kindergarten, and just dropped her off in 1st grade. Her cousin was in her class, but they were not allowed to speak Spanish to each other. The difficulty of learning English and translating for her parents made her decide that she wanted her children to learn English and not experience what she did. I remember being tested for bilingual education. I was so nervous that I froze and forgot all my Spanish. I remember my 2nd grade teacher telling my cousin not to speak to me in Spanish. Even as a child, I knew that that was wrong, but I couldn't articulate why. So for my son to be able to learn, grow, and thrive in both English and in Spanish, sorry, I didn't think I would cry, is amazing and meaningful to me and our entire family. But his educational journey and the journey of his peers should not hit a wall at the end of elementary school. I feel silly, sorry.
Just take a
Take your time.
Yeah, it's all right. So take your time.
That is why I'm here advocating tonight. We must ensure that our students can continue this work by restoring the advanced Spanish options at Amherst Regional Middle School. This track isn't new. We are simply asking to restore a course that successfully served Spanish speakers in the past. After 4 generations, we have an educational system that celebrates our language and our culture. Please don't let that progress stop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Meg Graham?
Hi all, I'm following on with everybody here. I'm Meg Graham McLean. I'm the mom of actually both a 6th grader and a 5th grader in Caminantes. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you all and for all of the hard work you've been doing to support and advocate for our schools and our programs. I actually would first like to read a statement that my 6th grader sent with me today. She wanted to be here, but she had dance. And so she writes, "Hello, my name is Carolyn. I'm a 6th grade Caminante student, and I have something to say about the Spanish class in middle school. First of all, I don't speak Spanish at home often, so I can't practice much. Next, a lot of us in Caminantes might want to continue with Spanish and try earning a stamp of biliteracy on our diploma. But if we can't learn more in middle school," and she puts in parentheses, "yes, I know they have Spanish there, but it isn't advanced enough for us, so we can't keep learning. We might fail the 8th grade stamp test since we did not keep up our Spanish to meet the more advanced standards. And I personally would think it would be really cool to get a biliteracy and maybe even a triliteracy stamp. But it would be really disappointing if I couldn't keep up my Spanish. My hope is that we could find a teacher willing to teach more advanced Spanish in middle school to those who want it. Thank you and have a good night." And then I'll add a little bit as the parent of 2 students in this program. I cannot tell you how fortunate I feel to have been able to enroll my kids in public school in a bilingual education. I am a strong supporter of public education, but also understand the wonderful benefits that a bilingual education can provide, both individually to my kids and also their growth and learning, but also for the culture of our town. When I signed up Carolyn to be in the inaugural class of Caminantes, I did so with pride, but I also did so with the thought that this spoke highly of our town and our commitment to our community. I also believe that our town would continue to support these students in some way through their progression through the schools. And while I know this was not a guarantee, it seemed logical that we would keep wanting to support these students through all of their education. So while I know that Caminantes is an Amherst-only program, these students and families are all the same ones that will also enter into the regional school system next year and beyond. So my hope is that we can think about holistically looking at how to best support our students in their continued learning rather than a district-by-district decision. I really do believe that this program is a benefit to our town and region, and have met families just in our neighborhood who wanted to be here so that they could be zoned into the Caminantes program. Continuing to support these students throughout their education will draw even more families into our district. Thank you. I believe they're currently hiring a new Spanish instructor for the middle school, and it would be great if that person could teach at both introductory and advanced level appropriate for students and the heritage students and first language Spanish speaking students, so that our students could continue building their skills. Hopefully the solution would not require any additional funding. So thank you all so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Carla Sarr?
Hi, everyone. Thank you also for your service. We know that you're here and really doing something wonderful for all of us, so thank you. I'm going to speak to the same point, and my friends and colleagues here have already laid out a lot of strong arguments. I'm just going to add a little bit to that. I will say that for parents, it really was quite a surprise to go to the middle school and to learn that there would be no continuity. Conversations had been ongoing for years about what the middle school might look like for them, and there were multiple iterations and discussions about would it mean that they'd continue with content classes in Spanish, and then it seemed like that might not be possible, but it seemed like a done deal that they would at least be able to continue in their Spanish, and it was quite the shock to learn that it wouldn't be so. And I'll read to you a statement from my daughter, Ami. She's not here tonight because she's studying for a test in Spanish, and I'll tell you a little bit about that just so that you have a picture of the extent of the Spanish that the kids are learning. So last night I helped Ami study for another test that she had this morning, also in Spanish, and it's focused on their social studies class. And when I looked at the paper that she had that she was studying from, it's 3 pages long, single-spaced, entirely in Spanish. It's focused on ancient civilizations, Mesopotamia, Greece, Egypt, etc., entirely in Spanish, learning about city-states and walled cities and ziggurats, etc. So I think you would probably agree with me that it's not an over-exaggeration, that if you take a kid who's learning that and put them in a level 1 class where they're learning to introduce themselves and what their favorite colors are, it is beyond absurd. And it would be the end of a learning experience. And what we're just asking is that you help bridge them, help provide them a walkway from elementary school to high school where they'll have even more options. So what Ami said is, for over 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, for 7 years of our lives, the now 6th grade students of Caminantes have spoken, learned, connected, and explored with the Spanish language, a language that is now deeply rooted in us and is part of our lives. When I found out that we might not be able to continue our Spanish studies in middle school, I felt very disappointed because we had been told that our opportunity to keep learning, exploring, and creating in Spanish would be possible. I politely ask for you to do whatever you can to solve this problem because you are denying us the opportunity to keep thriving in Spanish. Thank you. And I'll just say, like, personally, it's been incredible to watch Ami in this program. We also have a 9th grader who was at Fort River, did not have this experience, and she often looks at her younger sister with quite a bit of envy. Our family is one where my husband immigrated from Senegal. His family speaks French. We would have loved to have had Ami be in SIGA, her older sister be in a French biliteracy program. But the Spanish one still provides Ami with a lot of wonderful opportunities. It's opened up her mind in a different way, right, when you learn. Anyhow, it's been amazing, and I just ask for your continuity. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you. Ella and Nico?
Hi, my name's Ella Bradbury. We are from Environmental Action Club here at the high school. We brought you some books a few weeks ago, if you remember. Yeah. And so we're back because it's coming to our attention that the school needs a new heating system implemented soon. So we're advocating for geothermal heating, which is expensive in the beginning, but ends up being more affordable as time goes on. And we wanted to kind of explain why it's important to us for reasons more than it just being uncomfortable and like difficult to even dress for school, going from classroom to classroom. So do you want to go?
Hello, I'm Nico. I'm also from Environmental Action Club. That's a good idea. Well, just adding on to, like, it's uncomfortable, and those are like petty reasons. It's not nice to come to school and sweat a lot. But I just I don't want to be worried about that too. And it's like, like sometimes it gets in the way. It's like in Latin class we have to go outside often because the language hallway is so hot, and like that's time commuting, and we get to it's just a complication. And I think it's hard for our teachers, and we don't exactly know what the details of the heating system are, or what a new heating system would look like, or how this would all change. We do know that sometime in the next, I don't know, like 4 years-ish or something, we need to get a new one. And we'll come back to you with more details on what a geothermal system might look like, what it might cost, why exactly we want it, but we just want to get the ball rolling.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. I think that is everybody. Okay. Thank you all. Okay. Next up is executive session. So I will move that the Amherst Pelham Regional School Committee now consider entering executive session pursuant to MGLC 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 2 and 3, to discuss strategy and to conduct sessions with respect to collective bargaining or litigation, APEA regarding policy ACAA and no contact directives, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body and the chair so declares, and I do declare, with the intention of returning to open session. Is there a second?
Second.
Anna.
Anna? Sure. Okay. Deb?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Lara Jane?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth? Yes. All right, so we are in executive session and we shall return. Yes. whole new,
Yeah,
changed your whole attitude?
different perspective.
Okay, so I am going to call the committee back to open session at 9:24.
Can you note that, excuse me, that Bridget has left?
She's coming back, though. She's gonna
Oh,
go
she
online.
is?
Yep,
She's what? Okay.
Yep.
She plans to go online.
Oh,
Right, I can't ask them to come in.
okay, so first is our report from our fiscal sustainability subcommittee.
The Fiscal Sustainability Subcommittee has been meeting both just as a subcommittee and with the 4 representatives that were identified by the 4 towns to work with us. We've discussed various topics. We have collated them together in this, we meaning Bridget, in this 4-page document. There is plenty that the subcommittee can focus on that is within the existing scope of the FSS, but we assured the representatives that we would bring forward their interests to the full committee for further discussion and decisions about what to do around them. This memo is intended to inform everybody about where everyone is, us, the FSS, and the 4 town representatives, and then at a later meeting, decide what to do with their requests and interests that are outside our purview, our being the FSS.
When Deb first brought this to me, I would like us to take a few moments to look at this and then have the discussion at a future agenda, so we can have that conversation. But I wanted us to be able to see the information that was being requested and have time to think about how to move forward with this, and then decide when to bring it up as a future agenda.
so
Sarah?
this would not be the time for clarifying questions if I don't? I can? All right, this is just, so 2, ways to reduce operating costs. The 3rd bullet, examine whether transportation fees. Do you know what's meant by that? Is that
Yes,
like, not the regular school bus? This is
Some
for,
districts charge their residents fees for being on the school bus. The requirement, as we understand it, is we need to provide transportation. We do not need to provide free transportation. But there is a clause in the law that I haven't revisited recently that has something to do with low-income students.
okay, thank you.
Anything else? Otherwise, we can think about it when we look at our calendar for future agendas. Laura Jane?
I would just add that I love that the environmental club comes every week. And they mentioned geothermal, and that's on here too, so maybe we could consult with them.
The FSS tomorrow will be meeting with Sarah Ross of Undaunted K-12, and she will be introducing initiatives that will supposedly be things that we could implement in our district. So
And grants to fund them.
and grants to fund them. So all the relevant, there's reading, there's a link, there's 2 readings and a link, and it's a hybrid meeting, and it starts at 7:15 tomorrow.
Sarah?
Can I ask a question about that meeting? Has Shannon or Michael,
Both
will they attend, do you think? Or-
Michael RSVP'd, yes. I don't
Excellent.
remember if
Okay,
Shannon did or
That's
not.
great, thank you.
Okay, so this sounds like something the committee would like to take up during our future agenda setting. Lovely. Okay. Speaking of Shannon's, do we have her?
Yes, I am here. Good evening.
Excellent. Thank you. Ta-da. Okay, so next up is a financial agreement with the town of Amherst regarding the middle school roof. Shannon, perfect.
Okay, so attached to the agenda, you can see this okay, right?
Yep.
Okay. I have a memo here, and also attached to it was the order that town council approved and authorized 1.6 million to come to the region to support the auditorium roof repair. And so we need to vote to accept this like a gift. And so we pulled it out from like the gift section. So this memo is asking you to authorize and vote to accept, and then to allow the superintendent in consultation with legal counsel to execute an agreement on behalf of the district.
Thank you, Shannon. Deb?
I move to, sorry, I'm out ahead of myself. I move that the Amherst Pelham Regional School Committee vote to accept the gift of $1,600,000 from the town of Amherst for the auditorium roof repair project and related work, and authorize the superintendent in consultation with legal counsel to enter into and execute an agreement on behalf of the district.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. Is there, William?
Just, does it need to say up to on the gift? Because it's not, may not be the actual number?
I think
If you
that
pull
is
up the
how
gift thing,
their language is written. I think our language is
I think we could take the friendly amendment for up to 1.6.
yeah, I think, because their language that I heard today was up to, so.
Okay.
I accept the friendly
Okay.
amendment.
But could it be on the gift? It needs to be changed on the gift form that's attached.
It's our motion language
Oh.
that's actually the final sayer.
Okay.
Does my,
'Cause-
sorry.
Is that the official term?
Yep, that's the technical term, the sayer.
Does the
So I actually want to say that on the an attached order, it says the sum total of 1.6 million, and we attached the order. So I know we can't exceed 1.6, but the school committee should vote to accept the 1.6, and then we could work, if the 1.6 is not used, if we use 1.59, then we would work in the agreement to return it, because we know it was up to 1.6. But in the order that is there, they're actually transferring 1.6 million from free cash to the region, which is a great, and as superintendent, I want to say thank you to the town of Amherst for this gift. But it does say that in the order that they approved, and it's attached.
Great, thank you.
Sorry.
Hold on. There was a friendly amendment to say up to 1.6 million. Does the second also agree with the friendly amendment?
Yes.
Lovely. Okay. Now that is organized. Was there anything further regarding this?
Just a little question, but Dr. Z may have answered it for me. I'm not sure. I think in the track and field maintenance that we'll get to next, we bill the town of Amherst, and so we may not spend the full amount. But it's different here. They're going to give us the whole big sum of money, and then we're not going to bill the town of Amherst.
I think
That's subject to the agreement that we negotiate and figure out between the superintendent and the town of Amherst of
Okay.
how that billing will work.
Because if they basically reimburse us, we wouldn't bill them for more than it costs, whatever,
Yep.
so.
Okay. William?
I was just gonna say, it was my understanding it was gonna be a reimbursement piece. When they hit certain deadlines, then they would cut certain checks, or we would request.
I think that is part of the agreement to be finalized between, that's with Dr. Z and the town of Amherst. Okay.
Can I just say thank you, especially to Shannon, for putting up with to the town, for putting up with an awkward process, but also to Shannon for hanging in there from start to finish.
Yes. Okay. Laura Jane?
I would like to share a brief anecdote. It's very brief. I went to see the middle school play.
But we need to vote on this. I appreciate your story, but we need to vote. There's a motion on the table. So is it discussion regarding the motion that is actively on the table right now?
No, it is a description of the dripping roof.
We understand it needs work. That is why it's happening. All right. All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1. It is passed unanimously. Thank you so much to the town of Amherst. This is a very generous and lovely gift, and we are so super appreciative of them recognizing this need and helping to support it. Okay. Next up is the vote to accept the middle school roof bid.
Yes, so I'm going to share my screen again. So there's a memo that I wrote, but we also have a memo from, not a memo, but a recommendation from our OPM, and we have Jeff D'Amico, if I said that correctly, from Vertex here, who will discuss a little bit about the bids that we received and what we're actually voting tonight, which are the base bids. So Jeff, if I could pass it over to you, and I'm happy to share your recommendation sheet if you prefer that, or keep this up. And if you could just talk a little bit about the bids that we received.
Sure. Thank you. So appreciate the time tonight. So the roofing project, first we break the bids into two categories. One is the filed subbidders, so we open those in March. That's broken down by the traditional categories of masonry, miscellaneous metals, waterproofing, plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. And in all of the trades except HVAC, we got at least 2 bids, in some cases 4 bids. And so that allowed us to move forward with all of the trades except for HVAC. So for the HVAC bids, we have assigned an allowance to the general bidder. We then proceeded forward with the general bid and received 2 substantial bids from the roofer / general contractor. In this case, the roofer is the prime bidder that will also serve as the GC. We've done our due diligence to review the bids that came in from Silktown and Titan Roofing. Both are very reputable firms that we've used on many of these projects in the past. Silktown is the lowest responsible bidder, and the firm we'd recommend to move forward with, which includes the base bid of $5,570,412, and then the alternate one for $1,162,221. The HVAC bids are going back out to bid. So Mass General Law allows us to assign an allowance and then rebid the HVAC. So when those numbers come back in, we will then adjust the low bid roofer by either an increase or decrease depending on the results of that HVAC. And so those bids will be due in 2 weeks, at which point we'll be back in front of you to present that adjustment for the HVAC and then get your authorization to award the HVAC contract as a sub to the current roofer, which in this case, Silktown Roofer is the low bidder that we're recommending.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions, discussion? Anna?
I was going to make a motion.
Go for it.
I move that the Amherst Pelham Regional School Committee award the contract for the middle school roof replacement project base bid to Silktown Roofing LLC, the lowest responsible and eligible bidder, in the amount of $5,570,412, and approve alternate 1 for the auditorium roof replacement in the amount of $1,162,221, and authorize the superintendent of schools or designee to execute the contract.
Second, Laura.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Sarah?
I have a question for our OPM, and thank you for all your work on this. I saw in these bid documents the prime certificate of contractor eligibility, which sounds really important. That expires in August, which is maybe before the work is completed, I don't know. So, and they have to reapply no less than 3 months.
So it's an ongoing cascading process. As long as Mass General Law, as long as it's correct at the time the bids are submitted, we would accept them. A lot of times it takes them up until that next renewal date where they have to provide a certain amount of information and get reference checks in order to get recertified. I don't envision there being an issue with Silktown being able to achieve that. Bit of context, Silktown was actually purchased by a larger roofer, which is called Greenwood Industries, which is one of the largest roofing contractors in Massachusetts. So they're backed now by a larger outfit, and so we don't foresee any issues with their recertification.
But my question was, do we require or do you make sure that they do in fact reapply in a timely fashion so they're not, their certificate doesn't expire?
Great question. It's not a requirement. Mass General Law is written around at the time the bid is received, but we certainly, knowing that expiration date is, we'll check with the subcontractors and the roofer to make sure we receive those. But the requirement from the state is at the time the bid opening occurs.
Right. Thank you. I have a question for
They can't
Shannon.
reapply till May.
Right. I think
There's windows of times when you
Yeah.
can apply and you've got to go through the
Right.
recertification and get the references, which is why sometimes it lags. But they usually always come in by the renewal expiration date, so that they don't prohibit that firm from being able to bid on future work.
Sure. Can I ask Shannon a question?
Go ahead.
Shannon, the project budget, I think it was an attachment, is the same that we saw last August. I mean, it isn't even, it has the same date. It looks like all the same numbers. So
Yeah,
there is no change, that nothing about that is changed, and basically our bottom line cost to the district will not change in the reimbursement and all that?
The reimbursement percentage from MSBA will not change at this point. I attached this just as a reference document, but things may change and change orders may need to happen depending on where the bids come in. But that's not on here yet.
Yeah, so I could provide more color context to that too. And Shannon, I don't know if you pulled our monthly invoice budget, which is a version of the MSBA's budget, or whether it was the actual exhibit from the funding agreement. And I have both documents should we need to pull them up at the ready here. But essentially, there's no change to the overall project budget at this point. We've awarded the various contracts to your OPM, your designer, and any other minor scopes that were awarded, and now you'd move forward with the construction budget. This is the one and only time that the MSBA updates the agreement, and so ultimately, if there's shared savings, which there are here, the MSBA will reduce their overall contribution to the project, as will the district, because ultimately, the great news is that you came in significantly under budget. The base bid, or the base budget that was included was 8.4 million, and we're at 5.6 rounding. Right, so there's $2 million of savings, and both the MSBA and the district will share in that. So there will be a reduction. There are a few other things that kind of adjusted through the process where HVAC scope went up a little bit. Some of that will be ineligible, and so there'll be some minor adjustments when the final schedule of values comes out. So all the work associated with the roofing components itself are certainly still eligible, and great news. Some of the HVAC, the MSBA will review on those on a case-by-case basis when we get that HVAC bid and we have a schedule of values to present over to the MSBA.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Tim?
Thank you, everyone, for this information. I think this is a question for Shannon or maybe Jeff. And so in the event that the auditorium roof project ends up needing a change order, is there any way that the debt authorization used to cover the other parts of the roof could cover any cost changes to the auditorium
No.
roof portion? Okay. What if that's not possible, and I didn't think it was, how are we planning to prevent it from exceeding significantly $1.6 million?
So right now, the base bid that's received is the $1,162,000. In addition to that, at your next meeting, I'll present to Shannon a minor adjustment to our schedule extension and T2. All that should be below 110 overall. I'm waiting on the final numbers back from Turowski too, which is your architect. We'll bring that back in front of the committee, so that uses up about $1,280,000 of the 1.6. So you have 320,000 associated with that roofing work itself to deal with any unforeseens associated with the roof of the auditorium.
Thank you.
Thank you. Laura Jane?
Thank you so much for this. I'm wondering if, given the surplus that appears to be existing, whether it's possible to put solar on the roof. I know it says here, I mean, this is the 2025 budget before the thank you, Town of Amherst gave money for the roof, for the auditorium roof. But I'm wondering now, it says, does the scope of work, what does it say? It says include costs to make roof solar ready. That feels like maybe something that we should be considering if we are so well under budget, that if we're gonna be looking long-term sustainability, it might be a valuable thing to consider. And I don't know how that would play out in this situation, but I think it would be a great idea to talk about it.
Do you want me to answer that, or do you want to discuss? So, like, it can get complicated. Is the simplest answer there. Right now, you've appropriated the original 10 million, whatever the final number was, $10,024,000 was voted by all the regional districts, right? So multiple towns in this. You had multiple votes that fed into this, right? They voted on the scope that was presented at the time. So you'd have to, if you were to add solar or other things, that you're changing the original vote related to that. So it'd be not eligible, right? You'd have to go back to those towns and make an adjustment. I did hear you mention that you're having Sarah from Undaunted come in. She's an expert witness in the industry. I've worked with her on other projects. There's lots of other vehicles out there for getting solar on a roof, such as a power purchase agreement, as well as the town buying it and getting rebates, and you'll hear more about that. But it's not a simple change to bring solar into this project here.
Great.
Thank you, that was very clear, actually.
Thank you. Okay, Tim, then I think we're ready for a vote.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on the solar. One of the issues, I like that idea, and we went over the solar stuff rigorously in the fall. And given the need to build all the steel dunnage on the 2/3 of the roof covered by the MSBA, it basically makes it so there's no attractive yield from the cost of installing the solar. The auditorium roof is a different case, but I don't want to dig into it because that would change all the conversations that we've had with the town of Amherst. But the portions of the auditorium roof are capable of upholding solar panel installations. So that's something for us to think about in the future.
Great, thank you. Okay. All in favor of the proposed motion? Excellent. It is unanimous. One.
Congratulations.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us, Jeff.
No problem.
And we look forward to getting this project off the ground. Thank you to everybody who's put so much work into just even getting us this far, and it is much appreciated. Okie dokie.
Thank you.
Moving on. We have next the overview of DESI review. Dr. Z, I believe this is yours.
It is. I attached a memorandum to the school committee. So brief overview. In February, I was informed by DESI that we will be going through a district review. It is all 3 districts are going to be reviewed. And the letter basically informed me that what the overarching thing is. They asked us to identify a district liaison, as well as they informed us of orientation dates, which is June 9th or August 11th. After receiving that letter in February, I responded and set up a meeting towards the end. I responded in the end of February when I finally saw it, responding and asking for a meeting to have clarifying questions brought forth. I met with the DESI representative, and I asked some clarifying questions around the process. One was around who specifically would be needed as a district liaison. I wanted to know what level of support. After the conversation with the individual, with Robbie from DESI, I decided that I would have Naibi Douglas, our compliance and procurement officer, do it, because basically we're looking at the role would include coordinating meetings, coordinating documents, pulling things forward and sending it to DESI. She'll also be supported by Tanya as well as Megan, so that we can pull everything together, because the superintendent also has an active role in this process. One of my questions, which was one I think came up before, is like, what could be done if there's findings? The response was, unless there's something outlandishly illegal happening within the district, there isn't much that is done to districts. I also went up on the website and I put the website in a memorandum. The website really has really good information and they have a FAQ section. One of the key things you'll notice when I went up on the website is they have some reports at districts going back to 2011. You'll notice that there is no district report for our districts, which means that it's been quite some time since we've gone through our mandatory district review, and so it's just our turn up in the cycle. The reports, as I've reviewed, they give different levels of feedback. There are some indicators for the district review. There's standards and indicators. They look at different levels. They look at governance. They look at curriculum. They look at HR. And if you notice, if you took the time, or you take the time to go through some of the other reports around districts, there's like one district that's very similar to us. That's Dover Public Schools, Sherburne Public Schools, and Dover Sherburne Regional, which would, kind of align with Amherst Pelham Regional. And I went through their report and saw, what it was that was outlined. I've signed up for the June 9th orientation date where we'll get some more information around what this looks like. One of the things is that as the district, we get to choose when it is that we would go through the review. I actually would like the review done earlier in the school year. I think that according to the website, the turnaround time, you get feedback from the observations within a month after they're done, but then you get the full report like 3 to 4 months after the full review is done. I think that would be a good time. If I looked at the calendar, it would align with the time that we would be developing goals for the district. So it would be really great to get that level of feedback back so that we can see what other indicators we've met or what we would like to address as a district. So I welcome this review as an opportunity for our schools to reflect what we're doing honestly, and to just clearly, a level of feedback to clearly drive what systems changes we may not be addressing.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Z. Anna?
So I'm not sure if I'm confusing this review with a different kind of audit. But I was talking to somebody who seemed to think that this kind of a review is extremely onerous, requires a lot of digging and organizing and providing data. And I was just wondering how much you understand about what this process is going to look like, and if you're allocating enough resources to get this done.
So right now, I can only go off of my preliminary conversation. I think after we go through the orientation in June and we have a deeper understanding, I've also looked at the resources. It's going to be a level of organization, a level of review. There's a district review handbook that's attached. The handbook outlines different steps. So I'm going to say this. I'm appropriating or allocating the resources or physical resources that we can without impacting our daily operations. But we do have a full team meeting. The idea is that NABI will be like the organizer to kind of pull all of the information through, but the full cabinet and the district, once we go through that June 9th orientation and know what all the steps are and what it's going to look like, creating like a district plan to make sure that we funnel the information appropriately, and trying to make sure that we direct ourselves in a way that we can meet our timely deadlines and requests.
Great. Thank you. Sarah?
Dr. Z, do you know whether this effort by DESI intersects with at all the Student Opportunity Act plans that the district submits every year? Because I think some of the equity issues were highlighted there and are things we say we're working on. So is that part of their review to see how we're doing? Do you know?
Well, curriculum and instruction is under the standards and indicators that will be reviewed. And so there is a whole host of things that are going to come through. They're going to host focus groups and interviews. I'm not sure right now. Like I said, I've been reviewing the resources that are on the website after the conversation. And once we get into that orientation, I can better tell you the SOA. But it would not surprise me if they didn't ask for our SOA based on like the indicators that are listed that they're going to look for. So this will be my first time going through this. But I feel like if we look at what the resource, there's an actual resource that's called, what is it called? District Review Handbook. And it talks about some of the, like in the appendix, key stakeholders for interviews and focus groups, standards and indicators that are there. And they say curriculum and instruction, instructional leadership, curriculum and instructional materials, equitable practices and access. So those things are all things that I feel like would be reviewed, and we just need to make sure that we have them available when they ask for us. But I don't know the specific list at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Deb?
I've spoken to just a member of the community who's familiar with the process, and I agree that it's considered extremely time-consuming. One of the caveats is that the review process does not require you to generate materials that you don't currently have. However, if you indicate that you don't have them, that can be interpreted or may be interpreted as you are not in compliance with that particular issue. So I just want everyone on the committee, as well as Dr. Z, who will be in the details of these meetings, to understand that just because we don't have the documents that they're asking for does not mean we should not produce them, create them. That would put the district in jeopardy according to this individual. So I just wanted that to be part of the preliminary conversation amongst us as we move forward.
I agree. I don't believe in creating anything. If we don't have it, we don't have it. And that's what I'm saying. Like, if we complete this early enough in the year, it will help guide us through the goals in terms of our gaps in processes and what we need to address. Some of the things we may not have, and some of it we may not have it documented, but we have it in practice. Like, those things I feel are going to come forth in this.
Great. Anything further? Lovely. Thank you, Dr. Z. All right. Next up is a discussion around the integration of Chestnut Academy to Arms Middle School.
Point of order. I did not have time to review these documents. I would like to make a motion to put this on a future agenda item. I checked the agenda around 3, and I think while I was in the agenda, that's when they were uploaded, but I'm just very uncomfortable proceeding with this kind of conversation without having had time to do my homework.
Second.
Was there an actual?
I would like to move to postpone this agenda item to the next school committee meeting in order to give the school committee time to review the documents that were included in the agenda for this evening.
Second.
I need 1 second to consult my notes on how to do this appropriately.
Thank you.
While you do that, can I ask Dr. Z a question? Or would you like me to wait?
Is it under this agenda item?
Well, I think it's relevant to the motion. I mean, to this motion.
I think we need to wait.
Okay.
1 second. Okay. Postpone to a later time, must be seconded. We can then open the motion up for discussion. It can be amended, and it is a regular majority.
Has it been seconded?
It has.
Andrew.
By Andrew. I just need one more second, make sure we have. Move to table the motion may be taken off the table after. Not the, okay, all right. I think we now, since it has been moved and seconded to postpone this agenda item to the next meeting, we can have discussion regarding
The motion.
the motion,
Yep.
not the actual agenda item. Sarah?
Well, it'll help me decide how to vote. Dr. Z, are you asking the committee to take any action on this item, or you're informing us of?
I am not asking the school committee to take any action. I'm informing. I was asked to inform the committee of what the possible impact of Chestnut Street Academy to the region may or may not be.
Can I also ask, is it important for us to hear this information before our executive session later tonight?
I don't think so.
Around the lease?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I also feel like it may, so two things. I don't think so, but there may be questions that come up in that might be relevant to what is there, or individuals in that might refer to information here. And so I think it actually gives the school committee an opportunity to walk through the understanding of what may or may not be done.
Laura Jane?
We're in discussion of the motion.
The motion on the table to postpone this agenda item to the next meeting.
This feels like a very critical discussion that the community should be involved in, and because it was posted so late, I'm not sure it gave folks enough time to be able to weigh in. So I 100% support this motion based on that.
Any further discussion? Okay, and Bridget has joined us online. So we will now take roll call vote. So the motion right now, a yes vote would postpone this agenda topic to our next meeting date, which is, one second,
May 4th.
Let's hope it's not 1 second.
is May 12th.
So that's a month from now.
Yes, we have, the region has one meeting this month. Okay, so we're clear on that. A vote no would be to move forward and have the discussion tonight. Deb, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
No.
William?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes. I don't really know.
What did you say?
I said yes.
Yes.
And then you said-
Laura Jane?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
And I am going to vote no. So the motion passes. 7 in favor, 2 opposed, and 0 abstaining, and 0 absent. So the motion passes, so this will be on our next agenda, at our next meeting on May 12th. Okay. So our next up is our consent agenda. We have many minutes that are in there. Thank you again to Tim for writing them. I would like to pull the gifts out of our consent agenda? I will then, Sarah?
I'd like to pull 3 sets of minutes for minor corrections, but I think they should be made. So should I say which ones?
Yes, please.
January 13th joint meeting, February 26th, and March 10th.
Okay. Anything else anyone would like to pull from the consent agenda? Okay. I will move to approve the remaining items in the consent agenda.
Second.
Deb, how do you vote?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
Lara Jane?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Bridget?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. Okay, so I pulled the gifts out of the consent agenda because there are several, and I want to be sure we have time to accurately say thank you to people who are being incredibly generous with us tonight. So I would move to accept the following gifts. From the town of Amherst, free cash agreement for the track and field maintenance for $150,000. From donor Ahold Delhaize USA Inc. for to support the middle school at the principal's discretion for $936.25. And from the Amherst Education Foundation for personal fitness cardiovascular infusion for $9,070. And from the Amherst Education Foundation to support ARHS Table Tennis Club for $4,740 for a total of $13,810. Is there a second?
Second.
I think that was Tim. All right, so thank you so much for these incredibly, incredibly generous gifts. We are very lucky to be so supported in this manner. Tim, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Lara Jane?
Yes, thank you.
Anna?
Yes, thanks.
William?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes, thanks.
Bridget?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth, yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, Sarah.
But I have a question about the track and field gift,
Oh, okay.
if I may. I don't understand, is this, what is the duration, the expected duration of, like, do we spend all this in 1 year? Is it 2 seasons, 3 seasons? How? There was no scope of work. So, I mean, I'm happy to take it, but I'm delighted, thank you, but I really have no sense of whether this is a fund we're expending over time or like every year it's going to be $150,000.
Shannon?
Yep, so this is for 1 year right now that we're anticipating. The scope of work was not yet fully finished. It's going to take between the town of Amherst and our team another 1 to 2 weeks to finalize what that scope of work fully is. But we will ensure that's on the agreement before we sign the agreement, of course. But yes, it's for 1 year.
Great. Thank you. Okay.
Now
Your
Yes,
minutes, Sarah.
minutes.
Your edits.
So first, many thanks to Tim for all these minutes. It's wonderful. So January 13th, the joint meeting where we appointed Joanne Smith. I would just like to correct the spelling of her, or the format of her name. I believe it's capital J-O, capital A-N-N. It just says Joan, like, so I would correct that. For February 26th, on page 4, I'm not looking at it, I don't remember what it was, I think it was the union, maybe one of the bargaining units. I don't remember. It has that I both moved and seconded the motion, and I'm sure I didn't do that, but I don't know which I did or who did the other. Okay?
So could you say which motion it was again?
Well, it's on page 4
Okay.
of your document. Should I slow down?
Give me just a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then March 10th, the public meeting, or we had the hearing, the budget hearing also, but it's about the public, the non-hearing meeting. I left after the hearing. So it adjourned for the hearing and then resumed, but I was not present during the latter part.
Okay.
I was virtual, so I just
You were
left.
attending remotely,
Yes,
or, I'm sorry.
yes,
She was
that's correct.
attending remotely the entire time and then after left. And
After
was
the
not,
hearing.
after the hearing, was
After the
not
hearing
there.
closed, I did not come back.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I will make these corrections,
Thanks.
and we can move to accept these minutes with these corrections.
Yes.
I move that we accept these minutes with Sarah's corrections.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Bridget, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Laura Jane?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
And Sarah Beth? Yes, it is unanimous. Again, thank you, Tim, for your writing. Okay. Oh, no.
What is that? A delightful sound.
Yeah. Dr. Z?
I know the next item up is future agenda planning, but I would be remiss if I don't say this after what just happened in the last vote for the discussion on integration of Chestnut Academy. It is very hard as a district and administration to prepare for presentations as well as prepare repeated requests when we have multiple meetings that we have to prepare for in a week, and we're also running districts. So I felt like it was quite, and it's the committee's purview, but I am going to ask that whenever we have meetings and we have future agenda planning, that the committee also take into account the amount of requests that we also have to prepare while doing and running the districts. So I know this is the item that we're coming up to, and I know that we've moved that to May, but there's work that will continue and we'll update that presentation in May. But I am asking that the committee also take into account when they are talking about presentations and things that we have to do, we have to prepare for, the amount of requests that we also receive from school committee members.
Thank you, Dr. Z. Okay, so future agendas. This is a lot. Okay. So, there's one meeting in April. I am, the chairs of the 3 committees have come together to propose several joint meetings over the next 3 months. We have a bunch of policies that need to be sorted, first and second reads. We are proposing April 20th, April 30th, May 20th, and June 10th. And they include items such as approve the SY 25-26 superintendent evaluation tool, or the bullying and prevention implementation plan. As I mentioned, there are many policies, roughly, I don't know, a lot.
Like 22.
Yeah, they're gonna be broken up, it won't be all just.
We only have a second read for a whole slew, and then we have first and second.
Yes. The May 20th, will discuss establishing the superintendent's goals for school year 26-27, the district start times, strategic plan review, a continuation of the policies that need to be both second and then first reads again. And then June 10th will be the superintendent's presentation of the 25-26 artifacts and wrapping up all of those policies.
Sorry, most of those days you said were Wednesdays.
They are. So I have tried to be in touch with committee members who sit on committees that are not always on Tuesdays and work around when those happen on their other school committees and coordinate a lot of moving parts, and those were the best days we could come up with. So there will be invitations that come out shortly, and we will do our best to accommodate everyone's needs. Okay.
I'm sorry, I got so lost. I don't have to keep track of this. 'cause
You
they're
don't
just-
have to. I'm going to send it all out, but I did want to put on there that this is this information is coming down the pike, so to be a heads up about it. Yep, Anna?
Did you say May 20th?
I did.
We're supposed to have a FSS meeting or not?
And maybe a B&A meeting.
It's,
We can move it?
It is not going to be perfect. We will do our best to coordinate as best I can.
May 20th?
Maybe we can
Okay.
move it. Okay.
Yep.
We have also just talked about relocating the conversation regarding the integration of Chestnut Street Academy, Chestnut Street Academy to the middle school. That will be a conversation on May 12th. Is there anything else before we move on to our next? Oh, and our FSS discussion. We had talked about previously bringing back the charges for subcommittees. I would love if we can have that conversation on the 12th. I think Deb was able to provide, I think you sent me like a form that organized it. I will try and
Yes.
share that out to all subcommittee chairs that we can move forward with. Okay, Deb.
When you send out the information, you'll have the relevant agenda items on them?
Yes.
Okay. So, because I.
You don't have to
didn't-
write that
I
fast.
did not
Yep.
keep up with you.
You didn't have to.
Did you mention superintendent goals for FY '27? You said the tool. You
Yes.
said the goals too. FY '27, okay.
I think that is the May.
Okay. Will we be doing any committee goals?
That doesn't have, those are joint meetings.
Okay.
For
Yep.
the 3 joint committees to have discussions around. Okay. If things come up, you are always welcome to, Deb, email me. Go ahead.
Deb?
Brim update, please, in one of those. It's been a while.
Yes, I have that on my not joint list.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, great. Thank you. Andrew?
A conversation about what was brought up tonight about Comanante's 7th grade students, rising 6th grade students, rising 6th grade, rising 7th grade.
Rising 7th.
Rising 7th.
Confusing.
Yeah, just to either have a conversation or hear about that issue, hear
Might
about
be
possible
rising 6th
solutions.
grade, too.
What's that?
Might be 6th grade too.
Yep.
Tim?
I just want to thank Dr. Z for all the work you do in preparing for this stuff, and I want to reinforce what you're saying, that getting too many requests and having no way to make that visible to the requesters creates a systemic problem and a bottleneck where we're not able to get the information we need at meetings. And this is why when I have questions for Dr. Z, I send them to Sarah Bess, and I ask Sarah Bess if she would share them with Dr. Z, and that's why Dr. Z likes me the best.
She's
Okay.
not denying it.
I will now
Sarah Bess.
move,
Included in the district start times, I would like that information to include transportation implications. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I have a agenda item.
Yep.
Update on the investigation.
That
What
in,
investigation?
Which one?
let's connect offline
guess-
about what you're asking about.
I think that's maybe ASC.
Okay.
That's ASC.
Oh, there was the
So-
investigation of the brim for the high school. We've never had an update on that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I meant.
Oh, the debt.
Okay.
That's not what I meant, but I.
Is that what you meant?
I
That's what I thought you meant, sorry.
I have a brim update. Okay.
Yeah.
So I will now
No,
move that the
you go
Amherst
back.
Pelham
Never mind,
Regional
never
School Committee consider entering executive session pursuant to MGLC 30A, Section 21A, Purpose 6, to consider the purchase, exchange, lease with the town of Amherst for Chestnut Street Academy space or value of real property if the chair declares an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and I do declare, and to approve minutes in accordance with open meeting law MGLC 30A, Section 22, with no intent to return to open session.
Second.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no, my turn. Bridget, how do you vote?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Laura Jane?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
William?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Deb?
Yes.
All right, we are in executive session. Thank you.
With no intention.
With no intent to return.
Yeah, ever.